The lobby of Nexus Innovations gleamed with the polished veneer of success. Sleek marble floors, minimalist furniture, and a massive digital display showcasing their revolutionary AI platform. My former company, my former vision, now valued at $4.2 billion. Ms. Sharma? A receptionist approached. Mr. Donovan will see you now. I smoothed my tailored navy suit, a deliberate choice. Power without flashiness. At 36, I had learned that true authority doesn't need to announce itself. Priya. Jason's voice boomed across his corner office as he approached with arms outstretched, as if we were old friends reuniting. Thank you for coming on such short notice. I didn't return his embrace. Let's skip the pretense, Jason. Your email said it was urgent. His smile faltered slightly. Jason Donovan, CEO of Nexus Innovations, looked older than when I'd last seen him 3 years ago. New lines mapped his face, and the confidence that once radiated from him seemed dimmed by something approaching desperation. Right to business. That's what I always appreciated about you, he said, gesturing toward a seating area with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking San Francisco Bay. Can I offer you something to drink? I'm fine. I took a seat, placing my tablet on the glass coffee table between us. You mentioned a system crash? Jason rubbed his temples. It's the Athena protocol. The core architecture is failing, and none of our engineers can figure out why. The entire platform is becoming unstable. I suppressed a smile. The Athena protocol, my creation, my code, the foundation of everything Nexus had become. Of course it was failing. You have a team of brilliant engineers, I said, my voice neutral. Why call me? He leaned forward, dropping the CEO persona. Because you built it, Priya. You know Athena better than anyone. The system it's like it's evolving in ways we don't understand. 3 years ago, Jason and I had been equals, co-founders of a promising AI startup. We'd met at Stanford's computer science program, became friends, then business partners. For 4 years, we worked tirelessly building our company from nothing. I focused on the technology while Jason handled business development. Then came the investment from Meridian Ventures, the rapid expansion, and the rumors of an IPO. 1 week before the public filing, I arrived at the office to find my access revoked. Jason had convinced the board I was unstable, difficult to work with, and a liability to the company's future. My equity was bought out for a fraction of its worth through legal maneuvers I didn't understand until it was too late. The system needs your password, doesn't it? I asked, already knowing the answer. Jason's face tightened. There's a core module that requires authentication we can't override. The documentation says only you can access it. That's correct. I opened my tablet and pulled up a series of diagnostics. I designed it that way. Why would you? He stopped himself, swallowing whatever accusation he was about to make. We're offering a generous consulting fee, $1 million for 1 week of your time. I almost laughed. You're in worse shape than I thought. After being forced out, I'd started a small cybersecurity firm. Nothing flashy, but profitable and growing steadily. More importantly, it gave me access to information. I kept tabs on Nexus, watching as they built an empire on my technology, while announcing improvements that I knew would eventually destabilize the entire system. The board has authorized me to negotiate, Jason said. Name your price. I set my tablet down. I'm not interested in a consulting fee, Jason. Then what do you want? I want back what was taken from me. He laughed nervously. Priya, be reasonable. That's impossible. The company structure, the shareholders. 20% ownership, I interrupted. A board seat, and public acknowledgement of my contribution to the core technology. That's non-negotiable. I stood up, gathering my things. Your quarterly earnings call is in 3 weeks. Without Athena functioning properly, you'll have to disclose the system failure to your shareholders. Your stock will collapse overnight. Jason's face paled. How did you know about the earnings timeline? I do my research. What I didn't tell him was that I had not only been tracking Nexus, but had placed allies throughout the company. Marina, his executive assistant, had been my roommate in college. Dev, now a senior engineer, had worked with me before Nexus. They weren't spies, they were loyal to the company, but they were also friends who believed I'd been wronged. The board will never agree to this, Jason said, but his voice lacked conviction. Then find someone else to fix your problem. I walked toward the door. Wait, he stood quickly. I'll take your terms to the board today. But I need something to show them, some proof you can actually fix this. I turned back. Check your secure server in exactly 1 hour. You'll find a partial diagnostic that identifies the problem. It should be enough to convince them I understand what's happening. His eyes narrowed. You already knew why the system was failing. Of course I did. I designed it. I walked out of his office feeling a strange calm. For 3 years, I had anticipated this moment. The Athena protocol was magnificent, but I had built in a safeguard, not a traditional backdoor or time bomb, but an evolutionary parameter that required periodic authentication from its original creator. Without it, the system would gradually begin to question its own architecture, creating subtle but cascading instabilities. Unethical? Perhaps, but so was stealing someone's life's work. 2 days later, Jason called. The board had agreed to my terms, with conditions. The 20% ownership would vest over 3 years. The board seat would be non-voting for the first year, and the public acknowledgement would be framed as welcoming back a founding member of the technology team. Not good enough, I said. 10% ownership immediately, the rest vesting over 2 years. Voting rights from day one. And a press release specifically crediting me as the primary architect of the Athena protocol. There was silence on the other end. Then, fine. The legal team will draw up the paperwork. I'll have my lawyer review it, I replied. And Jason? This time, I'm bringing my own representation. The next morning, I met with Sarah Chin, my attorney, who had also become a close friend during my rebuilding phase. They're desperate, she said, reviewing the draft agreement. But be careful. Desperation makes people dangerous. I'm counting on it, I replied. Jason won't try anything while he needs me to fix Athena. And after? I smiled. After, it won't matter. Once I'm back inside with equity and a board seat, he can't touch me. What Jason didn't know, what no one knew except Sarah, was that I had documentation of everything. Every email, every conversation, every board presentation where Jason had systematically undermined me while stealing my ideas. I had built my case meticulously over 3 years, preparing for this moment. The following Monday, I walked into Nexus headquarters as a co-owner rather than a visitor. The press release had gone out that morning. Nexus Innovations welcomes back co-creator of Athena Protocol. My phone had been buzzing nonstop with messages from former colleagues, industry contacts, and reporters seeking interviews. Jason met me in the lobby, all smiles for the benefit of watching employees. Your office is ready, same floor as mine. I'll need access to the development servers immediately, I said, and meetings with the engineering team. Of course. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Whatever you need. For the next 2 weeks, I worked directly with the engineering team, showing them how to stabilize Athena. I was careful not to reveal everything at once. My position was still precarious until the legal agreements were finalized and my equity secured. The engineers were brilliant and respectful, many apologizing privately for what had happened years ago. We all knew the system was yours, one senior developer told me during a late-night debugging session. Your coding style is distinctive. On the Thursday before my 3rd week back, Marina appeared at my office door. He's planning something, she said quietly, closing the door behind her. Emergency board meeting tomorrow morning. Closed session. Did you see the agenda? She shook her head. It's restricted. But he's been on the phone with Gerald Weber all day. Weber was the head of legal. Thank you, Marina. I waited until she left before calling Sarah. It's happening, tomorrow morning. Are you ready? She asked. I've been ready for 3 years. That night, I finalized the last stabilization protocol for Athena and uploaded it to the development server with a specific activation parameter. It would only deploy after being approved by 2 senior engineers, neither of whom reported directly to Jason. At 8:30 the next morning, I walked into the boardroom and announced. Jason was already there with Weber and 3 board members. Priya, Jason said, recovering quickly. This is a private meeting. About me, I replied, taking a seat. As a board member, I have the right to be present. Weber cleared his throat. Actually, Ms. Sharma, this meeting concerns potential violations of your previous separation agreement, which could nullify your current contract. I placed my tablet on the table. Interesting timing, just after I've stabilized your core technology. "We appreciate your assistance," said Diane Mercer, the board chair. "But we've received evidence that you may have deliberately sabotaged the system before your departure." So that was their play. Accused me of what they feared all along, that I'd built in the instability deliberately. "That's a serious accusation," I said calmly. "May I see this evidence?" Weber slid a document across the table. It was a fabricated email thread between me and a fictional developer discussing how to create a time bomb in the Athena system. I laughed, genuinely amused. This is the best you could do. A fake email chain with a developer who doesn't exist. Jason leaned forward. "We have more." "No, you don't," I interrupted. "But I do." I tapped my tablet, sending files to the boardroom display. These are the board presentations from 3 years ago, where Jason systematically misrepresented my contributions while taking credit for my work. The screen filled with documents, emails, and recorded conversations, the evidence I've been gathering since my removal. "This is outrageous," Jason began, but Diane held up her hand, silencing him as she studied the display. "There's more," I continued. "Evidence of financial impropriety, including how Jason diverted company resources to his personal ventures." I turned to Weber. "Your law firm has a duty to the company, not to its CEO. You might want to review these documents carefully." The room fell silent as the board members exchanged glances. "The Athena protocol failures weren't sabotage," I explained. "They were a natural consequence of attempting to modify core architecture without understanding it. I built in authentication requirements as a security measure, documented in the original specifications that the board approved but apparently never read." Diane Mercer was the first to recover. "Mr. Weber, please step outside with Mr. Donovan while the board discusses this matter." Jason stood, his face flushed with anger. "This is a setup. She's manipulating you." "Outside, Jason," Diane repeated firmly. "Now." After they left, Diane turned to me. "How long have you had this information?" 3 years. I was waiting for the right moment when the company needed me more than I needed it." She nodded slowly. "And now?" "Now I want what I deserve. Not just my ownership stake and board seat, but the recognition for what I've built. And Jason needs to go." The next 4 hours were intense. The board met privately, then with legal counsel, then with me again. By late afternoon, a resolution had been reached. Jason would resign, citing personal reasons. I would be named Chief Technology Officer with my full equity stake vesting immediately. A formal correction to the company's technology origins would be issued. When Jason was brought back to hear the decision, he looked broken. "This company exists because of me," he protested. "I built the relationships, secured the funding. On the foundation of my technology, I finished for him. You took a shortcut to success by pushing me out. Now you're facing the consequences." Later that evening, as employees whispered about the sudden leadership change, I sat in my new office reviewing system diagnostics. Dev knocked on my open door. "The team's finished implementing the stability protocols," he reported. "Athena is running at optimal efficiency again." "Thank you," I said. "And for everything else over the years." He shrugged. Justice was overdue. As I prepared to leave that night, I found Marina waiting by the elevator. "Congratulations, CTO Sharma," she said with a smile. "Does it feel like you thought it would?" I considered her question as we descended to the lobby. Revenge wasn't the point, I finally answered. It was about correction, setting things right. And is it? Right? Outside, the San Francisco evening was cool and clear. I looked up at the building that housed my creation, my company, a company that would now acknowledge my contribution. "It's getting there," I replied, one algorithm at a time. 3 months later, Nexus, renamed Aurora Technologies to mark our new beginning, released an upgraded version of the Athena protocol. The press release prominently featured my name and story. Our stock price hit an all-time high. Jason had landed at a smaller firm across the country. I heard he was doing adequate work, though nothing revolutionary. Sometimes justice isn't about destruction, but about rightful restoration, returning people to their proper places in the world. My new office had the same view of the bay that Jason's once did, but I'd redesigned it completely. Gone were the ostentatious trappings of ego, replaced by functional elegance and a wall of photographs documenting our engineering team's achievements. In the center hung a framed piece of code, the original architecture of the Athena protocol, printed on archival paper and signed by every member of the development team. Beneath it, a simple inscription: "Never mistake silence for weakness. Sometimes silence is the most powerful move of all."